Hello everyone, welcome to CareersTalk. I'm Sunil Sharma, an Agile consultant from Netherlands, and today's session is exciting. We are covering real AI-related Scrum Master interview questions asked at companies like Capgemini, Accenture, Cognizant, ASML, and American Express. Few are global companies, few are based in India. So yeah, this is going to be a great session. Friends, we have spent time collecting genuine, real questions, not just random one, and that's why it take time for us to come up with this session. So, but now we have enough database, so we will have also going to have session for business analysts, project managers, product owners, apart from Scrum Masters. So make sure that you subscribe and hit like. It really motivates us. Friends, these sessions take a lot of effort, and while others sell this content, believe me, people are repackaging it and selling our questions and answers. We share it for free. So what we expect from you, just that you will like, subscribe, and share this content with your other WhatsApp group so that it will help us to reach out to more people like you. So with this request, let me welcome today's guest, Priyanka Khurana. She's a familiar face on our channel. We have already done, I think, 6, 7 sessions with her in the past. So if you like, yes, you can check them later. I will add all the links in a description box so you can check all those previous sessions with Priyanka. So welcome, Priyanka. Thank you for joining us today on Sunday evening.
Thank you so much, Sanan. Thank you for calling me again and on your channel to share whatever I've been able
My
to
channel?
learn. Yes, our channel, I would say. We are learning and growing
Yes,
together on this channel.
of course. Great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you for inviting and yeah, decoding some of the AI things that are buzzword today in the market.
Wonderful, Priyanka. So if you allow, shall we start?
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay. So the very first question is, how can AI help reduce the cycle time in agile delivery, and how would you measure its impact?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So cycle time, we all know it's the total duration that it takes for a work item to move from start of active development to actual completion, and definitely excluding the idle or wait time. So how can AI help reduce that cycle time? I would like to start it with the help of an example here. Imagine a sprint you're working where developers finish their story on time. However, the regression testing, it takes days, or sometimes the deployment approvals, they like pile up because of certain reasons, or integration bugs, they surface late in the picture. So in this case, the sprint ends, but stories still spill over. And it's actually frustrating, right? Because it mess up all our KPIs also, and it uh, also demotivates our team members that they did a lot of effort delivering the work, but ultimately the value did not get delivered fast enough. So in such scenarios, how AI can help reduce some of these waste times, I would say is that we can use a couple of ways. And I have used some references from our again AI tools in terms of figuring out what are the right set of tools that we can utilize while implementing some of these AI solutions. So I'll be using
Wonderful.
them from the references that I have used. Um, so some of the things I would like to call out in terms of where AI can help us reducing cycle time is we can use test automation or defect prediction. For example, there are tools like Testim or Mabel for again for testing, which can run self-healing automation tests, or they can identify those flaky test cases and even predict high-risk code areas well before the release, which will help us again reduce our cycle times. What AI can also do is it can help with a smart task assignment. So it can analyze workload patterns, that which resource has lesser work, or recommend who should pick up the next backlog item based on the past trends that somebody might have worked on a ticket in the past, a similar one, which will help us optimize the flow. And some tools where we can use this for this purpose of assigning tasks could be Monday.com or ClickUp AI, which are currently used by some organizations. Other thing that we can do with around cycle time is maybe cycle time prediction, where some machine learning models can forecast likely delays based on some historical velocity or dependencies. So Jira advanced roadmaps with Atlassian intelligence could be one of the ways we can do that. So yeah, I think these are some of the ways where cycle time can be reduced. And to effectively measure while we are using some of these tools, did it actually help us? Is we can use some matrices, some key performance indicators, like we can measure cycle time trend, that did we improve our average time from a ticket which was in progress until it was moved to done. Or we can also measure spillover percentage, like the stories that were carried over from sprint to sprint, are they reducing? So our spillover percentage is reducing, which means our cycle time is obviously reducing. Or we can use a KPI like throughput per sprint, where we are seeing that number of stories are delivered more comparative to what we were doing earlier without extending hours. So yeah, these KPIs could be one of the ways to measure impact. But the main point that I would like to highlight all these tools is that AI just does not help us with coding. Like, we use GitHub AI for improving our coding practices with the help of AI, but it also shortens the wait times with the help of those testing and mobile tools, which are for testing automation. So it shortens those waste time between phases, and then can ultimately lead us to deliver things faster. Yep. So I think that's
Wonderful.
my input about it.
Great. I think you have covered all the major points regarding backlog management, estimation, automation, risk identification, and then you also covered measurement, cycle time matrices. You also covered flow efficiency? No, right? Oh, yes.
Um, uh, so when
So
I say like,
we have tools like Kanban or Process Kit, few of them. So they measure the ratio of your active work versus time, total time in the system, something like
right,
that. Now, of course, we have
right.
a lot of tools on predictability, sprint predictability, like commitment versus completion rate. And of course, you mentioned about defect rates, reworking, the velocity trend. So a lot of new tools are coming, but at the end, they are tools. I see AI is not a replacement for agile teams or a scrum master, but it's an kind of augmentation layer.
Yeah,
So it basically helps us to focus more on a value delivery and less on a administrative overhead, I think. So treat it like that.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
yeah, the key is to start small, measure continuously, and ensure the team feels empowered, not
right,
automated. So
right.
that's the key right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on to our next question, I think.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think based on that, Microsoft put it rightly, it's a co-pilot and not the real pilot, because the real pilot is the human working behind it. So it's a
Exactly.
co-pilot,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Great. So the next question is, what role could AI play in improving the definition of done compliance?
Okay, so definition of done compliance. Um, I think we all have seen it, that while working into development, a story is marked as done, but in the next sprint reviews, bugs appear, or sometimes we see the documentation is missing, or performance tests were not run. So basically, DoD was covered, but it kind of becomes optional. People take it for granted. But we can definitely and certainly use AI to make it compliant. We can put some tools in place which can make sure that DoD is actually being used, and whatever is mentioned is being covered. For example, and as I already said, that AI will be able to help automate the checks, that whatever is mentioned in DoD, AI validates our code against those items which are listed in our definition of done. Say, for example, unit tests are run, checked, code is reviewed, performance benchmark are met, all of things are checked. For example, SonarQube AI with AI plugins can do that. Anomaly detection is something else. AI can do while while maintaining this DoD compliance. That AI flag areas where historical stories which were done had past release defects. Like the story is done, the definition of done is met, but later on we identified some defects. So these kind of things AI can identify, alerting the team that DoD may be weak, or we can also improve it, right, going forward. Also, what it can do is CI/CD pipelines, which are enhanced by AI, can block releases if definition of done is not met. For example, GitHub Copilot for security. This can enhance DoD rules before release is actually done. So I think these are some of the examples with the help of which we can figure out that when we say done, it is actually done. It's not just developers done.
I think just to add on top of it, Priyanka, one more use case which we are looking right now is uh, predicting and preventing the almost done scenarios. So one of the biggest challenge is work being made done when it's not truly completed. So probably AI help us by predicting the risk areas using historical data. So flagging stories which we know like they are likely to miss definition of done based on the past behavior. Of course, as you mentioned about sentiment analysis of the team discussions in Slack or Teams to detect the uncertainty or the frustration that may signal the incomplete work because a lot of time people just chat with each other. So maybe we can also gather that kind of data to analyze. And of course, in terms of proactive alerting, so AI can notify the team when the story is about to close without meeting all the definition of done criteria. So yeah, I think that's maybe one of the more use case. And as you mentioned about measuring the impact, so we can talk about your definition of done attendance rate. So it means like percentage of stories that meet all the definition of done item before closure. And you also touch base on, I think, defect leakage. So post-release bugs that indicate DoD gaps. So that's something which we can measure the impact. And we also discussed about the cycle time versus the rework time. That again, something which we can consider. AI should reduce the rework caused by premature closure of those user stories. And of course, in the last retrospective insights we can gather. So AI generated suggestions for improving definition of done based on the sprint outcomes. I am already started using in our Edo tool and it's working pretty good. So basically the thing is again, AI help us to move from a checklist mentality to a culture of accountability. And it does not just to enforce the definition of done, but basically it evolves it. It ensures that it remain relevant, it remain actionable, and it aligned with the quality delivery. So that's how I see an AI become a silent guardian of agile integrity in a long-term perspective. So yeah, just to add on top of it, Priyanka, what you just mentioned.
Absolutely great points, I would say. And thank you for adding.
Okay, so let's move on to our next question. How would you integrate AI-driven insight into your backlog refinement without overwhelming or your product owner, without make him uneasy about all these AI-driven insights?
Yep, I think this is a very valid question, I would say, because backlog refinement in the beginning itself, it's already a juggling act. A PO has to do a couple of things like balancing business value, making sure that we are, say, all the dependencies are already resolved, or technical debts, we have to take care of them also. So backlog refinement, whenever it's being done, there are a couple of things already being considered. And along with that, if we see that AI is putting in like new suggestions in terms of these are 10 new backlog item priority items, or these are the risk alerts that you might have to take care of, or some dependencies map. So lots of things, and could be a cures for a product owner. So I would say again, say it's a completely valid question. And with AI, how we can make it smart enough that it can solve the problems for us rather than overwhelming or creating more problems for product owner. Maybe we can use AI to provide like some dashboards, some digestible dashboards, I would say, which are not just raw data dumps, but making it more predictable in terms of like these are the 3 top backlog items which are generating maximum customer value, things like that, or maybe doing scenario simulations, say what if analysis. Say AI may say that if you pick up this epic first, delivery can be delayed by 3 weeks. So this will give us give PO a good idea that what he should be doing versus he should not. And some of the tools here that can be referred are I think Craft IU, Roadmap Simulator, or AHA Roadmaps AI, which does this AI what if analysis. What else AI can help with is maybe grouping up backlog items into under themes, which will help reducing the cognitive load for PO. Say for example, all these items belong to same maybe checkout module, so maybe bundle them under one theme. So those kind of things, if AI is able to support a product owner with, I think the productivity of that person will definitely go up. So concluding it, I would say again, using AI as an intern, like we have already talked about, where it is only organizing or highlighting the things for us, but not dictating it for us. The ultimate decision still should lie with the PO, and his judgment should always remain central while making decisions about what should be done or what should not be done. So yeah, I think
Great. Great.
these are some of the ways we can help reduce that load for our product owner.
Correct. So just to summarize again, so we touch base on prioritization, suggestion, and not decision. So of course, like I use AI tool like Jira Line to analyze the historical velocity, the dependencies, and the business value. So these tools suggest priority levels like high, medium, low, but I always present them as a recommendation, not like a mandate. So this gives the PO space to apply their judgment. So that's something which I think useful for a lot of other Scrum Masters. And other use case which I have seen is user story summarization for clarity. So AI can summarize long and complex user story into a digestible format. So you can integrate your open AI with Jira to auto summarize descriptions and acceptance criteria. Even in Jira itself, they have now have that kind of functionality, just to make sure that your refinement sessions are more efficient. Sometimes you have huge complex user story with a lot of diagrams, things like that. So this helps the PO to focus on a strategic decision rather than getting bogged down with the wordings and things like that. And it's useful for team as well, I think. So that's again one of the use case which I just want to share. And of course, risk and dependencies, as we just mentioned, right? So maybe AI can flag stories with some hidden risk or maybe some unresolved dependencies. So you can have something called Jira Smart Insight to highlight the stories that frequently get blocked or spill over the past. So I can bring these up during the refinement to help the PO to make some informed decision, I think. And as you rightly mentioned, right, AI should feel like a co-pilot, not a driver, backseat driver, right? So my job as a Scrum Master is to translate that AI insight into a actionable, digestible input that empower the PO to make some better decision. So that's, I think, perspective I just want to share with you. Okay, so that's good. Let's move on. And I think with this we are halfway through our session. I'm sure friends who are watching, you found it valuable. I request you to please take a moment and smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And all those people who are interested in going extra mile, we offer a premium membership that serve as a gesture of appreciation and grant access to some exclusive content tailored specifically for our members. And you can, of course, join our discussion WhatsApp community with those memberships. So enough promotion. Without any more delay, let's get into our next question. So next question is on you touch base regarding that continuous deployment pipeline, right? So how can an AI can support this continuous deployment pipeline while still maintaining the agile flexibility?
So, yep, I think while AI is still evolving and every day new tools are there in the market which people can explore, utilize it, there is always that doubt in mind while exploring things that although these are AI tools are really helpful, however, they could uh, that worry about will it enforce rigid rules and they can kill that flexibility. I think that worry is really genuine, not in the case of just CI/CD, but I think every other thing that we use in software development. And that's why I think a very valid question again, because in this fast moving environment that we are today, CI/CD is the king. And like it's really the king, and but it's fragile also. One single broken script can block your deployment and then you have to redo the thing. So definitely this worry about maintaining that flexibility is uh, really genuine. And with AI, some of the things that we can put in place is it can help us predict if our deployment will fail, again, based on some historical patterns. So predictive deployment checks can be put in place with the help of AI. Harness.io is one of those tools which can help us with that. AI can also help figure out safer, rollback points. For example, launch darkly AI powered, like these flags can help us figure out that at this point in time, if we do not roll back, it can again break our code, which is why it will have to roll back from this point. Or AI can also help us, fine tune our test suits dynamically based upon the kind of code we have done. It can run only those most impacted tests based upon our recent code. And GitHub Actions AI, which is again one of the tools which can help run the right set of subset of tests, can help us figure out if not running the entire test, but a small set can help us still deploy it faster. Apart from these, I would say, and not last, but still not the least, is that it can help us with real-time monitoring and decision support. Like in these, while we are doing all of these things, AI-powered monitoring tools can deliver real-time insights by analyzing some uh, large data streams, or maybe identifying anomalies in advance, and providing some alerts to us that and agile teams at this point in time should quickly pivot and respond to these emerging issues. So I think these are some of the things we can put in place with CI/CD, which can, uh, with the help of which teams can also, innovate. I mean, they can experiment a few things without worrying about production failure. And it'll ensure that deployment frequency goes up while your mean time of recovery still goes down. So we can utilize it both ways, that we are also improving our deployment frequency and also making sure that our MTTR is also not going down.
Correct, correct. So I think as you rightly mentioned, so from a Scrum Master perspective, I would emphasize that AI does not rigidly control the pipeline. It acts as an maybe a safety net. So the team still decide what to deploy and when, but AI reduce that manual checks, right? That it will accelerate the feedback and it will increase the confidence within the team. So as you mentioned, yes, we can have, are we shipping more often? So we can check the deployment frequency. Is the time from commit to production decrease? Of course, that we can measure with the help of lead time. And how many hot fixes we needed post deployment, right? That can we can do that with the help of change failure rate. We can measure all these matrices in order to get that impact, actual impact, right? And as you also mentioned about MTTR, right? Mean time to recovery. So do we recover faster than incident occur in the past? All these measures we can, we can monitor over the period of time to actually understand the impact of AI. So AI support all this continuous development by, of course, making the pipeline faster, the smarter. But I think the flexibility is preserved because the team still need to inspect, they still need to adapt, and they have to make the final call. So I see in that way. So I think, yeah, we covered this particular answer in detail. Wonderful. Let's move on to our next question. So, how might AI enhance the collaboration between the cross-functional Scrum teams? I think that's the best use case for AI. Please go ahead.
Correct. I think this question brings me to an example which I faced myself in while working in one of the teams. I was in one of the refinement sessions, and developers and testers were arguing over acceptance criteria while the business analyst stayed quiet, right? And that was a real collaboration gap that I saw at that point in time. And back of the mind, I was thinking that can we have a tool, if we would have a tool, something like that, which help, summarize these requirements into plain English or these tech jargons into business terms, which help us all land into the same page, and we can have this conversation going smoothly. So yeah, that was, I think, one of the examples that clicked to my mind as soon as I heard this question. But later on, when I read more and more about AI, I got to know one of the tools which really, can solve what I was thinking at my mind at that time, that some NLP based tools which exist today, like Jasper AI and ChatGPT and Enterprise, they exactly do the summarize the requirements into plain English, and which really helps the team to collaborate well while we are in discussion. It also translates that technical language into business terms, which helps to reduce silos between the teams. So that is one of the things that can enhance collaboration. And yes, we definitely have certain tools which many organizations already using, like AI bots, capturing meeting notes or generating action items and then distributing to all. So even if somebody has missed it, they will have the detailed information about what are the actions and what details have been discussed. Some other collaboration boosters like Slack, GPT, or Microsoft Copilot, which many organizations are already deploying and starting to use, is increasing this cross-functional communication. Yes, so this is something sometimes that comes into mind, that maybe with a lot of dependency on these tools can, you know, bring in silos, but sometimes when you are in conversations and these tools are helping you, they do not just replace collaboration, rather they also remove friction, which helps human to focus more on problem solving rather than discussing about what's the real meaning behind what's written in the requirements. And an example around it that I want to share is that um, GitHub Copilot chats. So this helps non-backend developers to understand what is written in the backend code, and this will help maybe a tester or maybe a front end or maybe a designer to understand the tech feasibility or the intent behind the developer, that what is the intent while he was writing this code, which makes like collaboration backed with data and not just opinion driven, what is the opinion of a particular individual. So I think these are some of the use cases that I could think of which can help improve the collaboration with the help of AI.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
next question is it's kind of follow-up of this question only. So how would you manage, or how you're going to handle a situation where a distributed team start depending too much on AI tools for their communication, in place of talking directly to each other. What do you think
Yeah,
about this?
yeah, exactly. That's what I was coming to. That while some of these tools can enhance that collaboration, but too much of dependency on AI tools can uh, reduce communication at places where people are skipping the calls and just relying on the notes shared by AI. And for taking care of these problems, I would, as a Scrum Master or a project manager, my way of doing or solving this would be to set clear boundaries within the teams, wherein AI can assist us. However, critical decisions must be human. So positioning AI as a first draft only. For example, Slack, GPT summaries. These must be validated in our daily stand-ups before we start, working on those action items. So promoting those kind of rituals like daily stand-ups and retros. So these must be still live human interaction. So everybody has to be there in the calls to discuss, and we should not be relying upon just the notes which are shared by AI. And last but not the least is that creating that mindset in the team that AI is just a tool. It's not a alternate for a human, not an alternate for empathy. So use AI just to reduce the noise, but not to replace the real conversations which should be happening between the teams. So yeah, I think these
Absolutely.
are the ways I would use and continue to coach and mentor my teams around it so that they do not distract from real conversations.
Absolutely. I think the key message is that we should treat AI as a helper, not a replacement of a real conversation. So yeah, I mean, AI can summarize our meetings, suggest action items, or translate our messages, but it should not replace the live discussion, the planning
Right.
session, or our daily Scrum calls, right? So
Mm.
as a Scrum Master, I would suggest like you should encourage the direct communication, which is the key, I think, especially in a
Mm.
distributed key. So make sure the team still holds regular Scrum calls, for backlog refinement, your sprint reviews, right? And as you mentioned, set the clear guidelines. So
Mm.
define when it's okay to use AI tools and when team members need to talk to each other directly. That's very
Mm.
important. That kind of
Correct.
some sort of understanding we should have, and of course we
Mm.
should. I think the role of Scrum Master is now more crucial. We should watch for some misunderstanding or delay that may come from over reliance on AI, and we
Yeah.
should we should address them quickly, right? And of
Mm.
course we should educate our team. We should explain that AI is just a support tool for efficiency, but agile is still about people collaboration. So
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, so
I
of
agree.
course AI will improve the productivity without reducing the trust, the engagement, or face-to-face collaboration. This is the way I think we can go move forward. Communication, guidelines, collaboration, and educate the team members. I think that's the way
Yep.
forward.
Yep.
Great. I'm just looking at time. I think we just crossed half an hour something. So I think let's do one more session, Priyanka, after this, and maybe we
Sure.
can close this session here. So thank you, friends, for joining us for today's session, and we hope you found it helpful and informative. Part two coming soon. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we hope to see you in our next session. Until then, take care. This is Sunil Sharma signing off along with Priyanka. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.